I don't
All
hear
right,
it.
we're live.
Oh,
It's a RugRoast. Please get smoked. You come with the real or you end up choked. Yeah, it's a RugRoast. Where we poking the beer, rewind the boom, burning the cheese.
Yo, welcome everybody. So you've got me, Bern, your other host, OG. Today we've got Foreplay Warriors and Mosaics Dow with us. But first off, OG, you picked up a bit of a grail this week. So would like to hear a little bit about that because you got something that it's historic and a grail.
yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Always excited to have this everyone's support. I'm going to move my phone here, Vern, because otherwise I can hear myself. The super excited about the show this week. I think I'm really excited to discuss the Broken Keys or the Piano Collective as it's uh, named itself now. I think, as all of you know, it's been quite a brutal time in NFTs, and we've seen even compared to the summer of death last year, we have a combination of very low art prices because there was OEs and a bunch of other stuff. Uh, we have very high gas prices because of shit coins, and we now have this. We've had a lot of people leave the space, so you have fewer collectors. And so I think we've been in this really difficult market overall. And I think there's some stuff to learn about the AC piano auction. And I think it was really an epic and historic thing going in. I've watched what's happened in the past, and I know parallels are, I want to be careful. And I know Ack and Sam have both spoken to this, but I think the Skulls of Lucy are a great example of something that is a super important part of the history of NFTs and like the ownership of it. You're in a very strong group of collectors, and it's a unique uh, asset and a unique community. And so I looked at that as one of the examples. As I said, another thing I think that is a big trend that's happening in the space now is because NFTs have been a declining price asset for essentially since January almost of last year, and people have lost a lot of money. I think increasingly the NFT market's starting to mirror on the art side some of the gallery stuff, which is artists who have proven to be successful are actually getting an increasing share of the spend because they're a much less risky proposition. Paying, as crazy as it sounds, if you're Mexpert and you buy X copy at the price he did, it's actually a safer bet than almost any other NFT or a grant or an act. And there's quite a number, not that many artists, but a small group of artists who are now broken away from the pack. And I think this auction is another indication of the power that even in the bottom of the bear, you can raise $1.37 million in a day. The other huge thing about this collection is I think something I've advised artists for some time is I think the idea of just dropping one of ones into like an open abyss of like listings as a collection is an enormous mistake. And um, I think this reinforces an idea and a topic that I've discussed and think is important, which is it's essential for artists to organize into collections. And collections give artists all sorts of powerful things that they don't get without a collection, which is one, individual collectors could want to own across collections. And so the chance of them wanting to own more is higher. Two, you can experiment with your style without risking your entire ecosystem. The problem is the more successful you get as an artist, it's actually brutal. It's like the less freedom you have. Nobody wants to go, somebody was using the analogy like every time you go to a classic band, nobody wants to hear their new stuff. They want to hear the songs they knew from growing up. And I think it's the same with art. Like, if I buy from an artist and I get some random ass style that's not recognizable, I'm like, wait a minute. So I think collections allow artists to explore and engage and do new things. And if they mess up, which whenever you're taking a risk, an experiment and extending, you have to do something very risky because otherwise you're not making a step forward, which means, of course, it could fail. And rather than therefore impacting your whole collection, your entire body of work, this limits the impact much more to this specific thing. Oh, look, actually,
ACK in the chat. Let's
in the
go,
chat.
baby.
Get him up here.
Yo, what a legend.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Legend. I was hoping you would.
Oh
The
yeah,
man
you keep
himself.
talking. I'll try to get him in.
Yeah. You got him?
Well, I gotta send him an invite. So yeah, just keep going for a minute. Let me get
Okay,
this.
so anyway, I think that's another thing. The other super interesting thing that occurred in this auction, I think, look, everything seems obvious in hindsight, but if you're if you're ACK and you've been working on this stuff like round the clock and you're dropping 48 101s into the like molten hot death, I think like is reasonably like, I mean, obviously it had an enormously successful outcome and I'm a big believer, but before, I mean, nobody knew how this would go. And so there was a staging of the 48 pianos, one was hidden, 12 auctions started 1 hour later. So as we all know in NFT time, like, 1 hour is a big difference because once the second auction started, you had already seen an enormous amount of action and some price levels in the first auction. So if you look, one of the analysis I was sort of sharing it in real time because I'm a massive nerd, but like the wave one, the first 36 pianos raised a little under 500 ETH. The average price was around 14 ETH and the median price 12.9. The cheapest 9 ETH. The pianos that started in the second wave, and let's just assume the quality of art's, similar. There were some great ones in there, obviously, too, but the average price of those was 20 ETH, and the minimum price was 12 ETH. And so I think one of the super interesting things that I learned from this is like as the auction went on, were you able to get them on, Burn Dog, or no?
ACK, I sent the invite to your Twitter DMs. So if you want to hop up on stage, that link will get you here.
I'll text them in the Discord. I put my phone over there 1 second. So the last thing, the last super interesting thing was that delay actually ended up increasing prices 45% and made the buyers, like we've been talking about, it became a much less risky bet. If you would put in an auction at the very beginning and things that ended at 2 and you put in 5 ETH, you'd be kicking yourself. But by the time you're here, you know that the average price is 14 ETH. They're not all done, but you can see the open bids. And so I was watching, and before I joked in a Discord, I was like, everyone I talked to said their limit was 5 ETH, which means really 8, and that therefore to buy it, you had to be at 11. And even I said, look, my limit's 8, but I knew in my head I blew through it. So anyway, I just think it was interesting to see that if I was an artist, not as a collector, but as an advisor artist, I'd be like, how can we replicate that? Where if we think we're going to do well, it's a riskier strategy because had it gone the other way, the second half would have been much cheaper. But as a result of the success, it really amplified it. So anyway, let's see. I'm going to go into the Discord while Burn Dog, and let me just.
All right, cool. Yeah. We'll probably roll right into Pony. We don't have to do everything in order. So afterwards, if ACK can hop on, then we'll get him up here. But yeah, dude, and it's funny what you're saying about people in the Discord saying their prices. It's like poker, man. Nobody's going to tell you their real price, right? They'll say 5, they'll go up to 13. So really interesting auction for sure. And OG, congrats on picking up that Grail, man. That's the type of thing that you hold for life.
I'm super hyped, and I do think already the community forming around this. There's a Discord channel. Yeah, he can join from mobile. Yes. Can he join from mobile, Burn Dog?
I think so.
Yes.
I'm 50-50 on it.
Okay, we think. Try. He's trying to join us, which would be awesome, obviously. So
All right, dope. Let's go through with Pony and Foreplay, and then once he's on, we can get him in between if that works. All right, so Pony, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey,
This
how
is
are you?
fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. I'm glad we finally spoke. I could hear your voice. You're a real person.
I am. I'm not AI, or could I be? I could be AI generated. Someone's just like create a troll in AI, and that's me. But yeah, welcome. I guess if we want to start kicking it off, I got one question. First question: who are you? And like, give us a background on who you are pre NFTs.
yeah.
Sure, that's awesome. So I'm Pony. I'm an artist and founder of Foreplay Warrior. Before NFT, I was in tech and gaming in the real world, as you call it, IRL. Working away, thinking to myself, wow, the world has changed from Web 2 to Web 3 and how everybody has gone online, trying to build their profile and doing lots of interesting web gaming as well as app gaming. So I thought, why can't I do it myself? If I'm an artist, I can do art. And not only that, I have an idea of building a movement. And why not just get online and start doing what I do best? Who am I as a person? I am very multicultural. So I'm come from different cultures, very diverse culture, and I don't want to go too much into it. But the idea behind Foreplay Warrior was because I grew up in a very conservative culture where it led me to think about, hey, how is it to get more women into Web3, A, and B, how am I going to express myself when I get older and be able to say, hey, it's okay to be sexy and cute and the real and not be afraid to do so.
Yeah.
So that really
So before we hop into
Tells
all
me
that,
all the time.
I just want to slow you down.
Sexy and cute.
Yeah, so that's awesome. But before we hop into that, I guess in your NFT career so far, first, how long have you been in NFTs, and what have you been doing in your time in NFTs?
Yeah, great. So I've been looking at NFT for the last couple of years. So I'm following obviously with all the major projects and seeing how they do things, and also connecting with people who are in NFTs and founders within NFTs and really understand what they're really into and how like a whole business model behind it as well, because there's so much hype, but there's also the reality, right? So you're trying to learn the NFT and gaming business model within other so for example, like Axie Infinity and other those games, like how do they build their NFT sales to fund the business operations? And you think about, okay, then how does that lead to building a game that utilizes an NFT and also launching a token to kind of use the NFT as building that token ecosystem to spend in the game, but as well as benefiting the users and the company. And you see that reflecting in existing companies now who you can see lots of people use it in probably Indonesia, Philippines, who use it as a source of income using NFT and game, or generally in maybe the first world where they actually just enjoy really playing with the game. So I thought, how do I do that? A similar business model, but then within the idea that I want to build. So I've been in NFT for a couple of years and now starting my own. The art side is but growing up, I've always been art. And obviously in the old world, traditional world, art is on acrylic on canvas. But then you kind of transition into digital art. And you have to learn how to do digital. I'm not a digital artist by trade. I am actually an economist in trading. That's really my education. But hobby-wise, it's always been canvas, acrylic on canvas. But then, as a artist in my blood, it's like actually I can really draw and I can learn how to do AI art on Adobe. why not just learn that, because it comes naturally. You transition from canvas to digital art, and that's where I ended up. I played around on AI.
Apologies.
Yeah.
Totally sorry to cut you a little short. And we want to hear
No.
more. We have ACK joined us. Are you on? Can you hear us?
GM.
Yo.
Oh, what's up, man?
Hey.
Hey, so yeah, is it cool? We're gonna get through this with Pony.
Yes,
No.
please continue. I don't want to. I
Are
would
you
hate to
sure? Is
interrupt.
that
So
cool,
I want to
man?
hear.
I know you're.
Yeah, I got time. Please let
Okay,
her finish.
cool.
Thank you.
Okay,
Nice.
thanks. Just want to make sure. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead.
Thanks, man.
No, but welcome.
Yeah, you've got ACK up here with you, so that's awesome. Yeah, but I guess tell us about the project. So you're an artist. You've got a tech and gaming background. I do like it when the artist is the founder as well. That's always good. So let's hear about the project. What are you building?
Awesome. So we are an NFT art and gaming project. We are for women and by women, but also for men, obviously. We're starting a social conversation about female empowerment through sexuality and sensuality. And to be honest, we're a movement through art. Our content and artwork is a little bit kind of risky, but if you think about it, women like to dress nice for themselves, right? And men like women who look sexy and fine. So we stand for women's rights to express themselves without judgment, and it's okay for men to openly appreciate. So, which is why the art is a little bit risky in that sense. Where our NFT art project, cute, social conversation, NFT art gaming, and we're building a web gaming offering which embodies the same social conversation as our theme. And we're including Street Fighter style player versus player combat. I'm not sure if you played it in childhood, Street Fighter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you go on my website, you'll see kind of the Foreplay Warriors.
Why don't we announce for the audience so they can make sure they know the website if they can't see it? Let's throw it up here.
Yeah, sure. Should I pin it?
Or Foreplay Warriors on XYZ.
Yep. Yeah, you can pin it as well if you'd like.
Let's pin it.
Okay, sure. Let's do that.
Did you guys raise money to start this? Have you raised funds?
Oh, it's a good question. It's all self-funded by me because it's a passionate project. But I am looking for investment. I'm looking for people who believe in the project and Web3 for women, and as well as just a cute side wildcard project. Because I don't know if you know Dolls Kill. Do you know the brand Dolls Kill?
I do not.
Actually, when I first came into NFTs in the early part, I invested in a ton of women-based projects and a lot.
That's amazing.
Had a lot of. I owned at one point probably 18 different ones.
Wow. So Dolls Kill is a clothing brand that is for a very specific target market, which is women who like to dress very sexy and the kind of festival look. If you kind of know the kind of
EDM, like Burning Man, like Burning Man.
Lots of neon. So they've actually been funded by Sequoia Capital.
Yeah. You know, fun fact.
So if you imagine it's Sequoia. Yeah. So this Dolls Kill kind of risky brand actually is funded by Sequoia Capital. So if you imagine Dolls Kill, and anyone on the call would like to just go online and have a look, it's art. It's kind of my version of NFT and gaming, but with the concept of Dolls Kill. That's been funded by Sequoia. So anyways, going back so we have a Street Fighter combat and a trading card combo implementation where we're collecting where the user will be collecting NFTs with different metadata combos. So it changes like the gaming experience. So obviously you collect different outfits or different components to kind of up your level of your NFT, and then you can play it within the gaming experience. So
that Dolls Kill website, I recommend. You're right. I think people should go look at it if you haven't seen it. It's actually a great reference point. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's invested by Sequoia. So if you people think about Sequoia, they invest like all these companies, but this is their wild card, and I want to be that wild card to anyone who's interested, obviously, to invest. It's a risky type of sexual empowerment, but as well as embracing, who you are as a person, but not being afraid to show it. And their motto really is actually you shouldn't be ashamed about who you are, which is similar to what Dolls Kill is also saying, but also in my project as well.
I think OG actually has some clothes that he often wears from Doll's Kill. He wanted to wear some of
Nothing
this.
wrong if I did, but
You can't do that.
just to get a sense of where the actual project is now, though. So if you don't mind sharing numbers of how long is the project you've been working on it, how much money is invested, and what's the next step in your process? Are you here to issue an NFTs? Are you selling art? What's the next step? Just so we can all get a sense of where exactly the project is in its life cycle.
Yeah. So we're minting at the moment, and
What are you minting?
we're building the NFTs. So we have a collection of 8,888 NFTs on Ethereum blockchain. There's like 248 traits across 10 different categories. And the way I'm going to put it is that the 200 traits is actually based on the team's outfits and real women. So it's not just, I want to do like this particular outfit, but it's actually we actually have those outfits. It's quite personal for us. It's all hand drawn. We have special combination and rarity in the traits, and also with the game side is that it is version 1 on the website, but we're also using the funds of the NFT sales to build out obviously the operation and also improve the gaming and technology development. But also,
so the game's working right now already?
Yeah, it's working right now, and it has a database which it collects a database of the users.
And are the users using this PFP they mint to play in the game?
So at the moment, it's the 3 characters on the game, but the version 2 will be the NFTs that the users will have to play within the game.
And are you playing on chain, like are transactions on chain, or you're playing off chain?
So we'll be on chain. So the way I'm going to build it is that you will get special traits in order to up your level within the game. So if you have a special character, so for example, if you have a specific character, you'll have to buy the tokens in order to up your level and change.
Right now, it's the game you can play right now. If we go to the site, is just one sample.
Yes. That's it.
And how many? When did you start the mint of these 8,808? When did you start minting? At what price?
Yeah, so I've done it in phases. So I did like a soft launch last week where I spoke to Burn and just to test out the market and how that looks like. Like you said, it's a slow period, and I'm still trying to get traction. So I've done it in 3 different phases. The first phase was within 0.04, and now it's at 0.08 ETH.
And how many minted at 0.04?
To be honest, not many at the moment.
Looks like a total of 160 are minted.
Yes.
Did you mint any of those for you or the team?
Yeah, so I reserved that for the team to give special edition to people that I like.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was telling you, don't mint right now. Don't do it. And you did it.
Well, let's get to the. Wait, Vern, no reviewing now. We just got to save it to the end.
I know. Well, I was talking to
let's get a few more questions on the project. So you're saying the 160 that have issued were for the team?
Yes, it's for the team. It's
So
for the
team.
Not at the moment. I'm still building that profile
Totally. Are you guys active personally in any communities? Like currently, are you active in any NFT projects or?
Yeah, so we have our own, obviously, Discord community where
No, I mean,
there
in
are
other
people who are
people's, in
like-minded.
other people's.
Sorry.
Like part of being, do you own any other NFTs that are active in those communities?
Oh, you mean that? No, not at the moment. I know that's a way approach
That's the
where
key.
you wanna,
That's you.
it's a key to get into.
Yeah,
Um,
you got to spend a lot of time doing that before you even consider launching a project. You got to
yeah,
get to
so
know people.
I,
Bert, I'm going to slap around. You give the feedback at the end.
well, okay.
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Bert, you have questions? You have more? I have more, but why don't you ask? You ahead, bud.
So is the final supply going to be the 8,888 or what's your plan with that?
Yeah, so the final supply will be 8,888. And absolutely, to answer your question about communities, 100% agree. I don't own the NFTs of the community, but I have been in multiple communities where they are pretty awesome. I don't want to name too many. I don't want to name them, but it's nice to understand how that community works. And to be honest, I
So
think a
you
lot
own the NFTs of those communities? You're saying you do own NFTs.
yeah, so I am part of that community based on what I own. Yes. I don't want to get into which one.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
I don't have any further questions. OG.
Are you willing to share how much money you put in, or you want to keep that private?
No.
Okay.
Private. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can go, Burn, or you want to go?
Sure, I'll go first and then you go. So yeah, I like the idea of women empowerment. That's awesome. Women NFTs, but that meta was over a year ago. There was a women's meta where those NFTs were flying. You minted it in the middle of a shitcoin meta. With NFTs dead, gas prices through the roof, and I think the mint price is high, and the supply is definitely high. Even in a more friendly NFT market, I would say that would be really tough to do. I like the cause behind it. I definitely do. It looks like you're a great artist. But I also like the fact that you have a game. I mean, 99% of projects launch, they have nothing at all. So that is definitely a positive. At the same time, I don't know if this is something that would appeal to the masses. Women empowerment is good. Something like this, I would go much, much, much smaller supply. And as we were kind of alluding to, before you launch anything in this space, personally, I think you need 6 months of grinding multiple discords and projects that you own. You're getting to know people. You're building a community of friends. You got to grind for a long time. And then once you announce your project, you got to grind even longer to build up that community as well. First, pulling in your friends that you've made. So I think you jumped the gun on this one, and I think the numbers don't quite line up. I like the cause. Looks like you're a great artist. But I'm gonna rate this one a 3.5. And yeah, I think like OG always says, most NFT projects are gonna start at 0. So I'm gonna rate you a 3.5. Personally, I would not mint it. But that doesn't mean there are people that wouldn't, right? So some may, but that's my rating. I'll pass it to you, OG.
Yeah, I think the points Bernalder made are valid. I'd say a couple just additional things to think about. And look, part of this process is we hope it's helpful for the projects, and that we serve to give them practical advice on potential ways to kind of address any challenges. So I think what Bernalder said is correct regarding the collection as well. One of the things I think that makes strong PFP collections are the ability to build sets, whether it's an apes or rec guys or whatever. Building a set, Nakamigos even, is a very important thing. And when you have 248 traits across 10 different trait categories, you lose that very attractive thing that drives more ownership. I think there's many moving parts, and one of the things is like your undertaking. I would think if I was in your seat, like, hey, each of these undertakings, like launching a PFP, creating a game, doing it on chain, doing it with tokenomics, like there's whole companies that are spending massive amounts to do any of those things. And so I think it's harder to succeed when you take on a bunch of markets on the communities and so on. I guess, look, I think in all communities, like people, part of how you're figuring out somebody in a community in like NFTs is you talk NFTs. And so I guess it just strikes me like most people in NFTs, if they're in a community, are like, everybody knows what communities I'm in. I'm very present in those communities. So I guess I'm a little confused about sort of that piece too. And so for me, my ratings, I've really beginning to make them more precise. It's where's the project in its timeline. So if you're further along and you spent more money, you're going to tend, if you survive there with a lot, money and time and learnings, often you may be in a better position, or like all these things coming together. So what I'm trying to, we're not financial advice, but I'm trying to assess this possibility that this project is currently configured succeeds. And I just honestly think you have some specific challenges to address, or it's going to be quite difficult. So I'd rate the project. I'm not, and again, this is not, it doesn't mean I don't think the art is great. It doesn't mean I don't think you're doing super cool stuff. Like Bern said, I don't worry about whether there was woman meta or not. I don't think of it that way. I wouldn't care about that. Who cares? I think you're trying to do something super cool in terms of like taking a area that, especially a lot of the men in the space, like, have probably some complex emotions around and trying to deal with it. So these are all super cool things. But that's separate from whether this project will sell. And I think right now, as configured, it won't. So I rate it like a 2.5.
And the best thing we can do is just be honest with you. It's going to be better for you and better for your projects. So, yeah, definitely thank you for taking the time to join us today. Hopefully you take this feedback and, you can use it. You've got a great skill set. So,
and we're happy to be a resource and come back on and support you. So don't take it as, again, it's not a reflection of your efforts. It's a reflection of what are the challenges to this succeeding as an NFT. Thanks so much. Why don't we let the man chat a little bit about, thank you again for coming on, and we look forward to following up.
yes,
we have the man himself. We'd love to hear just how you're feeling. You can start with, how you're feeling after this week, anything you want to discuss about, you've been working on this for a while. How long have you been working on them? How did you feel before? You know what everyone might want to hear is that now that it's easier looking back from now, but right before you were about to drop in this crazy market, how are you feeling, man, when you were about to hit go?
Definitely the most scared of my life for sure. Because, leading up to this, I was texting with my friends, a fellow artist, like, dude, I don't know if this collection is going to sell out. I mean, I did no reserve because I wanted fair market to dictate the prices, but you never know. Like, that's 48 1-of-1s in a fucking brutal market. So
yeah,
it was terrifying, but I was excited because I knew I couldn't time the market. Like, I couldn't just wait. Like, the collection was done. It felt right. I found the right, I was at 100, and then I just started eliminating ones that didn't feel right because I wanted to do a collection of 100. I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah.
And just fate is what brought it all together. I mean, it's just crazy.
That's
I'm
so
just
cool.
now coming down from cloud 30.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I was watching the whole
started
time with the teasers and stuff. I know you've been working on this a long time, so it's very, very well deserved. And personally, I knew it would sell out, and it would be extremely successful. I think OG did too.
Well, I think, look, when it started off, because I was watching, obviously, and bidding and so on. When did you start feeling like, oh my gosh, this could be a big success?
Yeah, good question. So, I think for the first 6 hours, aside from the one that I used as my avatar here, the majority of them were in like the 1 to 2 range. Maybe there were a few in the 3 to 4. This one got to like 11 or 12, like super quick. So that was shocking. I couldn't believe it. And once I saw that and I just saw the overwhelming support, I mean, I went to bed that night thinking I would wake up and they'd still be around the 2 to 3, 3 to 4 range. And then, yeah, that last hour came and I was like, I get an email every time a new bid comes in, and I was just in pure shock.
Everybody was going off.
It was wild.
Every chat room. It was like, yeah. So that's really interesting. And I don't know if you heard, I think you weren't on at the beginning, but I said, I like canvassed everybody. And I was obviously, as you saw, pretty excited and active. I thought this could be a historic thing. And everybody I talked to is like, my top is 5 ETH. And I was joking earlier. I'm like, that means that they'll spend 8 ETH, which means I have to spend 11 ETH to get this thing. And so I think you're right. Like there was that beginning, a few people came out with higher offers early in the auction than would usually happen. But yeah, so that's so wonderful. How are you feeling now? The piano collector's been formed. How are you feeling about the potential for what this could be? And you've talked about, and I think it's the right approach, letting it be organic. But what's the next steps for the Piano Collective?
So far, all I know is the Piano Collective exists to serve the muse. That's all I know. Those are the only whispers I've heard. But because I know if I try to plan something out, it would be lame and cheesy and boring. So like the only way for this really amazing, powerful group of collectors and to I think to really find good new interesting opportunities to just let the universal laws open up for us and explore new opportunities.
That's the way, man. And so when you look now at your body of work,
say that again.
I said, when you look at your body of work, your NFT collections you've issued, how do you think, obviously this is an incredible example of a success organizing in a consolidated collection and even releasing it all at once, which before, many artists would have been scared. I think this has a profound impact, I was saying earlier, on both how artists should organize collections and the relative share of spend that the top artists like you in the space and Xcopy and Grant, so on, receive of the total spend. How do you think about the structure of what you're releasing? Now, how has it changed as a result of this? And then how do you think this impacts your opportunities as sort of one of the top artists going forward?
Great question. I don't know. I think, yeah, working on a collection like this, with one theme, was an amazing challenge to try and overcome, because I would make one let's say sunset, for example, and it just looked beautiful and it looked right. And then it's like, okay, how am I going to tell another story now that feels the same way? And then I would just start a new scene and just, magically I would stumble. I'd hate the scene for a few days and then I would change lighting a bit on something or, change the coloring, and I would start to love it. And I would just pursue those new avenues. And yeah, so building a collection was just, it was 2 years worth of my life. And the last year especially, it was pianos every day.
Yeah.
All day, other than when we're traveling, and I would wake up in the morning and just start working on a new piano scene.
That's so incredible.
And I do agree with what you said. I think it's great to release in a collection if you're doing it for the right reasons. If you're doing it to make 755 ETH, I wouldn't try it for that reason, because I didn't think that was going to happen. You know what I mean? I didn't know this shit was going to.
The focus has to be on the art and what you're doing.
Yes.
That's just an outcome out of your control, actually. You can't focus on that. I'm with you.
Yeah, no, you can't. These types of things can't be predicted. And now that we're here, yeah, there's been a few people asking hey, are you going to try and do what Sam has done? And of course not, because his thing was completely different and evolved over time. And if there's anything to come of this piano collective, it will just evolve on its own, or it won't. But I know I do feel strongly that these collectors in the piano collective were chosen for a reason.
I hope so. The two quick
Dude,
questions.
way more FOMO, dude.
Yeah. Do you actually, now that you spent so many years looking at pianos and doing all that, are you like, yo, I never want to look at it again? Or do you sort of now like, yo, I want to keep doing it? And then number two, when you just finished a big collection like this, like, are you like, hey, I'm really attracted to collection work, or oh man, I need a break. I want one-on-one pieces. So both your day-to-day, hey, I want to look at pianos or not, and then hey, I was working on this collection for so long, I want a collection or do something different.
So I was worried, because I've put pianos in quite a few of my works. I was worried, like, man, this collection is going to drown out the other pianos I made, and it's just been totally the opposite. Like, it's made them all extra special, I think, but without taking away from what the Broken Keys is, because this body of work is just serendipitously just so powerful now that no, I have a new profound love for pianos, but I think it needs to be treated very delicately moving forward. Anything I do art wise, and it needs to be for the right reasons. And I don't want to change the recipe just because I have all these new, potential opportunities. I need to continue to do what I did to get me here with also being respectful of the market, et cetera, et cetera.
So dope. Yeah.
Let the muse drive, right?
What
Exactly.
attracted you to pianos? Do you play piano? Do you?
Yeah, I'm just a self-taught pianist for myself. I can play Mozart, Beethoven, blah blah blah, but like those aren't the things that I really thrive on. I just use piano to open up my creativity. Like every time I have creative block, I can just sit, play a few keys, and it opens me up to new ideas.
Oh, I didn't realize that connection. That's pretty dope. Burn, any
Yes,
questions?
sir.
No, I mean, I think you did a great job with the questions. ACK, congrats, man. I mean, this is something that I thought about selling off most of my portfolio to bid on. But then I got scared, right? Because I knew it would do well, and I was afraid to dump everything and just get smoked. And that absolutely would have happened. So, congrats, man. Very well deserved.
Thank you.
And hey,
Thank
I
you.
think it's serendipitous as well. We had DM before, and we had the pleasure of meeting in person in New York, and I really loved the chance to hang out with you. And you were very sweet and very kind to me, so I appreciate that, and I'm really hyped. As I told you that I'm going to get a piece of your work, bro, and so here we are. I'm hyped that we had that chance. I'm hyped to be in the collective, and really appreciate you taking the time to come on today in the midst of all this excitement. It's very a clear example, another clear example why you're so successful. So thank you.
Hey man, no, it was a pleasure to meet you as well. I had a great conversation with you and just super stoked to see you to win a piece and to get into the collective and and to support the work. And it's just been amazing. I mean, I still haven't been able to personally thank every person who bought one because, so much shit has just happened since then that I'm just trying to catch up and finally coming back down enough to like focus on my thoughts and just move forward.
And those Twitter DMs, bro, there's nothing worse. When we launched our project, was like, yo, DM me on Twitter. And I didn't think about the limit. And we're like, it's launch day. And I get blocked out. It's like a
Yeah,
24-hour block,
I
It's
know.
and you sort of don't think about it, or whatever. So you must have been get hammered DMs and then just out of the game. So
Yeah, it was the support was just wild. I still can't believe it, and it doesn't feel real, but I'm just going to really take a few weeks to think about everything and consider all opportunities and just start listening for whispers.
bro, your attitude and approach is, I'm so hyped to be a collector and be in the family. So really
Thank you,
appreciate
man.
your time and
Thank you.
congrats again, man. This was a big part. This is a significant event in NFT history. So congrats.
Thank you so much for having me, and yeah, we'll chat soon.
Yeah, all right, brother.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Congrats.
Okay.
Thank you.
That was a nice guest appearance. We so far haven't disappointed, right, Brian?
Dude, yeah, he's debatably, some people might say, the top artist in our space. He's right up there, tippity top tier.
Yeah. Our
Just an
sales.
absolute legend.
I mean, yeah, I should look at. We can look that up. It's no joke. But what are the humble and I'll tell you in person. Great. He was next morning. He actually sent me a nice note first thing saying what a pleasure. I was like, what a class act, you know.
Good
So,
guy too. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Anyway, let's get back. Sorry to disrupt the show a bit with that, but I think it's cool that probably got some additional. More people will listen to this as a result of that, so that's a good thing.
Don't worry, we'll be advertising.
Okay, Vern, you want to lead the questioning, and I'll do it just like last time. You can go. You want me to?
If you want to lead with Mosaics,
Okay. Well, first, welcome. So we have the Mosaics team. So is it Boba Bay?
Yeah, you can just call whatever you like, whether it's Boba or Boba Bay.
Okay. John and Boba, just quickly your roles in the project before we go forward, so people know who we have on the show.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, thanks for having us. Also, congrats to ACK. I was watching that as well, and it was crazy to see, especially in this market. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm John. I'm one of the founders of Mosaics. I'm working on the product side of things. So I'm an engineer by trade, and we're building an interactive application. So I'm working on the application part of things.
And then Boba, your role?
Yeah, I manage marketing and community. I've always been in growth roles. Yes.
So, okay, quickly, do you want to summarize in a couple of sentences what the project is, as well as any history of money raised or current outstanding NFTs so that people know where we're at?
Sure. Yeah, I can take that one. So at a high level, it's quite simple. We want to create one of the largest interactive NFT art projects that ever existed. We want to bring thousands of people to come and draw on one big canvas all at the same time, a digital canvas. And the idea is that every 24 hours, we take that canvas, we mint it as an NFT, and then we create a new canvas for the next day. So at a high level, it's a new canvas every day.
John, I thought I was trying to remember the name. I thought there was another project that had a similar thing where they're doing a day for 365 days.
Well, I know. So we were inspired by Reddit, our place, and then Nouns is doing correct. They have an auction every day.
No, Nouns have an auction every day, but I obviously it'd be super helpful for me to remember. But there's so many NFT projects. I recall that there was. You know what? I'm going to ask in one of my chat.
Yeah,
there was a project where they did this, where they took like a daily. I don't know if it was of the art. So anyway, I think it's a cool idea, but I just didn't know if you guys remember the name of that one. Okay,
I don't.
Yeah, okay. So why don't you give us a little more detail about? I've seen on the site, but for our audience, what does that actually mean? And what's the NFT delivered every day? And how much of it is it 1? Is it 100? Is it?
Yeah, so there's two parts. The first one, the goal was to make something accessible and free. So to actually draw and participate as part of this canvas, all you need is a wallet, no signature required. You just need to connect and you can start drawing right away. We wanted to make something fun and free for everybody. And then as an add-on, as we realized we have to spend a little bit on server costs and to account for our time and to make the experience a little more fun, we decided to also create a collection in conjunction with that. The collection is going to be a 10,000 piece collection. And there's going to be 2 ways to mint. There's going to be, if you get allow listed, there's going to be
10,000 total or
total.
Issued?
Correct. Total.
And issued at what pace?
It's all going to be at once. So we're going to have, we're running the allow list now. We're collecting wallet addresses, allocations. But the interesting thing,
followers do you have?
We just started marketing 2 weeks ago. We're at on 3 or 4,000 at this point, almost 5. So I know it's a big number for today's market, and I think we're going to assess over the next couple months, right before launch, what we want to do. The interesting thing about the collection that we're doing a little differently is that there will be a free option. So it's actually, even though it's 10,000 total collection, 3,000 will be a free option, and 7,000 will be a very affordable paid option. And
What's
with the free,
is there a difference in how they look or anything?
There's a difference how they look in the functionality. So the free one is going to be, we're calling it Pixie Dust. And the idea is we just want to thank people who were early supporters of the project. It allows you to have a little bit of a faster cooldown. So when people are drawing on the canvas, like you'll be able to place 1 pixel every X number of seconds. If you don't have any NFTs with us, if you have this pixie dust, you'll get a little bit of a reduced cooldown, so you can draw a little faster. But then what you do is you have the option to burn that free NFT and redeem it for what we're calling a pixie, which is the fun animated character that you all see.
So I owned a bunch of this thing called Wow Pixies. It's an existing NFT.
Oh, really? Cool.
So that has that name, Pixies.
Okay, good to know.
So, and I think they have Wow Pixies, and I think they're issued Pixies potentially. So I just maybe double check that that's available. I just went on OpenSea, and it's Wow Pixies official, and Pixies are taken. So just a quick.
Okay. Good to know. Do they have asses though? OG, that's the question. Does it have a nice thick butt on the back?
Has a what?
Does it have a nice thick butt on the back of the NFT?
Why is that what you? Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So the Mosaics, what it does is you get advanced cooldowns. There's some other perks as well, and then also additional color palettes, and you can level them up. And so as you
NFT to people, like what that looks like that you'll be getting.
Have we posted yet, Boba Bay?
It's on the website. I went on your website. There was showing like they're drawing at the PFPs. Is that?
That's what it's going to look like. Yeah, it's going to be animated. It's going to have a lot of fun attributes, and it's going to evolve. So when you start out, it's going to be a naked pixie. And then as you participate in the Mosaics platform, it'll evolve and grow and level up. And then you'll have all kinds of fun attributes like the laser eyes, like a sense. I don't want to give too much away, but there's going to be some fun attributes coming.
Yeah, we're going to share some of these fun attributes real soon in like a dedicated thread about pixies.
Okay, so then what do you get when you buy one of these things? Like, are you part of a community? You just own the art? What's the idea of like you buy this thing and then what?
So you buy this thing and then the idea is that you get like additional color palettes. And the interesting thing about the color palettes is it'll be what we've noticed in some of our internal tests we've done with our community. People want to draw their favorite NFTs. They want to draw their Bored Apes or their punks or how you have it. And so we're going to create color palettes which allow you to replicate your NFTs one for one. Also some other inspirations as well. The cooldowns we think
draw the NFTs you already have.
Correct. Yeah, but it's on one big canvas. So if you ever looked at Art Place, like people draw things that mean something special to them. So like the flag of the country they're from, art that they care about, like someone drew a Mona Lisa, and like, so we want to be able to allow people to express themselves how they want, and color is one of those mediums.
Yeah, at the same time, if you have a pixie, they tend to evolve. So the more you participate, the more your participation is recorded, and then you unlock different special traits, which makes your NFT more evolved and rarer. Yeah.
So,
do you draw or do something? Sorry, go ahead, Brenda.
Oh, no worries. So, okay, anyone can draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you own a pixie, you can draw faster. You can do more
Correct.
pixels. So each day you get a new piece added to the mosaic, right? Where does that come from? Do you guys choose one of the best drawings, or how does that work?
So I'll take a step back. The canvas right now, it's about 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. And so anybody can draw as many pixels as they want, as fast as the cooldown allows them to. So for instance, OG can come on the canvas and draw, a picture of his face or his favorite NFT, but you're sharing that same canvas, those 10,000 pixels, with everybody else on the platform at the same time. So I can come and draw on top of OG's art. ACK can come and draw on top of my art. It doesn't matter. Anybody in the world can come and draw on each other's art. And then at the end of the day, whatever's remaining on that 1,000 by 1,000 pixel size canvas, that gets minted as an animated NFT, and it goes up for auction. And then we reset that new canvas for the next day, and we start all over again.
That's
and
cool.
now,
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
and it's a lot of fun, and that was the initial idea. And then on top of that, we said, how can we make it more fun and more interactive? And that's where these pixels and pixie dust came in. We want to make it affordable and approachable. We've been working on this for about a year now, so it's something that was our goal, was make it fun and free. But the Pixies, the value there is there's also going to be a leaderboard. And so we are going to have a lot of dynamics to reward and incentivize people in our community that are participating every day. There's going to be a daily leaderboard, a yearly leaderboard, the whole thing. And so we know who's participating, and there's ways we can reward them.
How many people are, so can you use it right now and do the drawing now?
Yeah, so we've run some beta tests. The goal is 10,000 concurrent users. So anybody can come and draw. Like we've built this thing to scale. So
drawing it on, it's on the blockchain. Like each time I draw, do I have to do a transaction or
no? So that's why we didn't want to do it on.
You write it to chain or no?
Correct. So once we mint it, yeah,
that's what I would do. I mean,
exactly.
You just got to get people to do his dailies on this, and you'll be good, man.
So that's what's powerful about it, because we know who's drawing. We can actually give them credit and reward and let them show off the art that they've participated in.
I just have probably one more question, and Burn Dog, if you do too. So sorry, if I buy this, so how am I? What's gonna make me make money? I hate to say it, no, but like I'm not. It's one part of NFTs. You buy because you love them, buy for access, buy to use it. So you've explained today you can buy, you can not buy and be part of the community and go slow.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy and draw faster. You can accrue all these attributes. Super cool. So I might just say, hey, I'm willing to pay for that to use that. And that's totally cool.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
Yeah.
If I'm somebody like many of these degenerates who says, I want to buy something and I want it to go up in price, how are you guys thinking about what would make this go up in price?
I think there's two things. First of all, when you mint the Pixie, it starts at level 0 with no experience. And as you level it up, you get more and more benefits. So somebody who's actually really engaged with the platform, they want to buy a bunch of
gaming. It would be like buying like laser guns in a game or something.
Right, leveling it up, and
so that you can do it better and pick more of the canvas. And
correct. Okay. And then
your Pixie also looks different. Yeah.
So it's a flex, yes.
Yeah. And then the other part is the auction itself of the art. So two ways. One, if a famous artist comes and draws on this canvas, in theory, you're owning a piece of their art. So that's an exciting part.
Why
and then additionally,
if you're gonna sell it using their name and they don't.
Well, it's for culture. I mean, they don't have to advertise. Maybe they do, they don't. I mean, it's whatever wallets are drawing is what's going to be attributed to the canvas. So that may or may not be a thing that they want to publicize. Alternatively, a majority of the funds from the auction go into a DAO. And so similar to Nouns DAO, there is some incentive to owning these mosaics because you get the art that you potentially participate in. Well, that's up to the DAO to decide. We don't have control over that, but similar to any DAO.
Usually a DAO is set up with a purpose. Right, buy for a treasury. Nouns DAOs to support the Nouns ecosystem. Is there just like no purpose? It's like whatever you guys decide. If we want to make it, all we do is support punk rock, and everyone votes on that, then you support punk rock.
There's a couple things. So there is going to be a weighted average. So the Pixies will have a small vote in the DAO, but the majority of the votes will come from holders of mosaics. The goal, we hope that they will actually help encourage this platform to continue and help artists who are part of the platform. We obviously can't control that, but we hope that there's a way that they can reward people who are drawing daily and participating in the community for their art.
Yeah. To John's point, like the whole DAO is not like just let people come up with different proposals and then they can do whatever they want. It gets funded. No, the whole idea behind it is to help the Mosaics ecosystem grow. This is just the beginning. This is just what we've built out as an MVP that's already very elaborate compared to like other projects in the space. And then from there, we're really having very good intentions for the project, like to also incorporate what the community wants when it comes to like helping them get more utility out of this, helping them make more money out of this. And eventually, like if we do get to a point where we have a long-term vision as to what kind of platform we want to build, then we'll go fundraise. It's just not the right time currently.
Totally got it. That's okay. Earn anything?
No, I think I get it. I think I understand how it all works. So the Mosaic daily auction, only one person gets it, right?
Correct. Highest bidder.
Yeah, that's right.
So okay, so the DAO could be like, we want to use our funds to hire ACK to put a piano on there.
Yep.
I don't know if he would do it, right? But you could try, and they could do that, and it could really up the status of the collection, whatever. Yeah, I think so. When's your target to mint this?
End of Q3 or beginning of Q4. I think right now we're waiting to see what happens with the market. From a fees, like the product is pretty much done. We're ready to go. We've been engaging with communities. We've been running internal tests and all that. It's just a matter of like building up the community, the allow list, and just getting the timing and the price right, the mint price. We want to make it affordable. We fluctuated, but it's definitely going to be less than 0.05 ETH for minting a Pixie. Hopefully much less than that, but it really just depends on where the market is, where ETH is at the time. But
okay,
yeah,
we all have full-time jobs.
It's also really about. Go ahead.
I was saying we all have full-time jobs. The goal isn't to make money off this. Like we want to make a little bit just to keep, servers running, engage with communities, potentially hire artists to come and be part of it. But yeah, the funds isn't some millions or anything like that. So
okay, yeah, that's
as to like minting, like now it's obviously the worst time possible. Gas prices are way too high. That's something that we know, and in fact, like ourselves on the team, we're not actively minting projects right now as well. So if we ourselves, who tend to like to trade NFTs, are not doing it, then we don't think other people are going to do it. So what we're really waiting for is that window of time where things make sense. We only have one shot at minting. And we've already put in so much effort into making this project the way it is today to try to like challenge what there is in the space and how people think of NFT projects, right? We're taking whatever experience we have in working in tech, big tech, media, entertainment, and just trying to like make our own project to prove what the potential of NFTs can be in the future. Yeah, so we're waiting for that tiny window where things look good, and then we're just gonna hit the ground running.
Okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for you. I guess Burn Dog, I lead on this one. Again, thank you guys. Thank you, both of you, for coming on the show. I think this is an interesting. I can't remember the name of that other one, but this is a really interesting idea of like capturing the day in NFTs each time. And I think, I can tell you're like motivated to want to do something for the culture. I think
it's a social experiment.
I think 10,000 is unfortunately a number from yesteryear, or if you're somebody with a huge budget and stuff. I just haven't seen. I can't remember the last. I guess Nakamiko's, you can be 20K, I guess maybe, but something. I just think the 10K collection as of now, there's not much evidence that's the demand size. I think this is one of these things where like it's really hard to judge till like you use it and you see if the community develops. And I'm not like there's many times I'm like, am I the person who could like best assess? And what I'd say is like, it's right now, because you're not issuing anything, I just would watch, like, do people do people care about this? Are they using it or do they not care? Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, by the time you launch, you're either going to have like a devoted community of people who seem to care about this, or you're not. Mm-hmm. And so I think, to me, I'd have to see that. Look, maybe I support artists, and I spend for free all the time. I spend like most of my day talking to you, helping people, so on. So I'm not saying you have to do stuff for money, because most of what I do, I don't do for money. But when people give you money and give you money to do stuff, they generally want to make money or get a like exchange for something that is worth the amount of money they gave you, like get a better value. And so if they can't think they'll sell it later higher, then they have to like, and so again, I just don't know how people will value this thing. And I don't have any evidence. I'd just be giving you an opinion from somebody who's, doesn't know whether it's worked or not. So without that data, it's very hard for me to give a rating. What I'd say is the challenges I see that would make me rate it lower are collection size. Also, how are you going to go? You're going to issue one a day of the mosaic, so you're not going to have. I mean, it's not going to be. How are you going to get to 10,000? I don't understand, because if it's one a day, that's 365. It's going to take you a year before you even have 365. You need like 400 people in a Discord every day to even have 20 people active. I mean, we have like 450 people in our Discord. It's just, so I guess I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, it's two separate collections. So there's it's like the art, and then there's the actual utility NFT.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I think that's also no bueno. I just talked to Farouk and Loxley. Bern and I talked to Farouk and Loxley last week. 2 tokens again, I think, is like death a bit right out the gate, because like then all of a sudden you have 2 different groups to answer to before you've even started out the game. So there's some things like that I would, if I was like advising you, be like, no, too big. So I'd say look at those things. I can't rate because it's like I don't have anything to rate other than you telling me something, and I've told you what I think of that. But I don't have any I mean, I apologize. I can make up a number, but it's not useful because there's nothing. It's real simple. I'd simplify the structure. Don't have more than one thing. Somehow tie them together. I don't know, but the more things you got, like look at every ecosystem that had more and more things. Yuga might be able to support it. Even look at everything from gutter cats to 10KTF to I mean, there's a million that are just doodle. I don't know, it's just everything. Like when you have that much stuff, it's trouble unless you're really like, again, it's just like to execute at that level. So that'd be my feedback. Burn Dog.
Okay, so I'm gonna rate it based on where you're at right now. You've got a lot of time ahead of you, which is smart. I can tell you're both experienced. You understand the space. You've taken the time. You know how degens work and think. At least to an extent. It's so it's good to see an experienced team. I think the Mosaics idea is really cool. And like you said, maybe someone wants to put their PFP on that day or whatever, or a community says, let's rate it and let's draw all ours on there, right?
Yeah.
So the key is, yeah, wrecked, just cover it with wrecked guys.
That's the goal.
Yeah, for sure. So I think you've got time, but you really got to be in these communities. And that doesn't mean like sitting in their general chat. It means like getting in the communities and getting to know people. If you grind it out, maybe a shot. It's cool. I like that it's going to be less than 0.05 ETH. Personally, I mean, I would mint it. That's like, take a shot. Why not, right? I don't know if the masses will. I can't speak.
If you look, even very experienced people who have successful projects under their belts, who have issued smaller PFP sizes than this, it's been a challenging market even at those prices. So
yeah, but they're talking Q3, Q4. So they're going to see what happens. They might go lower on the price. You can't say it's not concrete yet. And he said 10K is not even concrete, in which I agree with OG.
How can you rate
10K? 10K is way too much right now, but maybe we hit an NFT summer. You don't know. You got to see what happens. I wouldn't be advertising it as 10K though, because that's just too much. One thing I don't like is you've got the pixie dust and the pixies. Maybe like OG said, make it more simple, right? We don't need just the more simple, the better, right?
I don't think you get that name. I mean, I know that the homie Konop and them had the project. I talked to him, so
we'll check it out.
Yeah, just check it out.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question about that. Like, so the whole reason why we decided to have pixie dust is so that there's an option for a free mint. So in that case, we're trying to be inclusive because inclusiveness is what we need. in order to mint out. And also this concept of having both a paid and a free mint has just never happened before. So we felt like in this space, actually, you kind of get rewarded for taking risks, like building something new and actually delivering it. Yeah. So would that still be a bad idea? Like rather than like a small collection of all paid?
Or just
personally, I would never do that, because the minute you have something that's free and paid, look, in NFTs, because I think this is a good lesson I've learned. Take the rare pass. On the day it got sold, you had a bunch of people who paid a bunch of different prices for the same thing. And to me, that's like a challenging setup a bit, because then you have people in the project who came in at different things. So then if you're giving something for free and charging for it, you now have a question that people are like, well, why should I pay when there's a free one? And so I think you're already, again, you guys have spent a lot of time with the story. The average moron like me will come and look quick and be like, what the fuck? Do I know these people? Are they are my friends with them already? And somebody told me they're good. Because I depend on, as Burn Dog and I have been talking about it, when I came into NFTs, I was like, how am I going to be able to trust anyone? It's all these anon people. Well, it turns out the exact opposite. I can watch their wallets, talk to them, and some of my most trusted people on the planet are in NFTs. So that's screen one. So then once you get to it, if somebody starts explaining this, it's like, I don't know, man. How am I gonna? So that's the challenge for me. Is I think selling something for free and paid. I know there's this freemium and both, in another world, but this is like an NFT. And the minutes that people are getting it for free, what I found, we track in my collection. We've gone through various pricing models, and we give free drops sometimes. And I can tell you with data certainty that if somebody buys a token and gets drops, as opposed to pays the same price. So you pay, let's say, I'm just going to make it up theoretically. You pay an ETH for 10 drops. So each one's really 0.1. If you sell each one for 0.1 versus all for 10 for 1 ETH, the people will sell the free ones at whatever price they can get. The average price, I look in my collection I just did this morning and told an artist, hey, I appreciate you wanting to give for free. I'm just going to let you know that anything you give people for free, even this great group of collectors, if they're under pressure, if they can get 0.02 ETH for it, it's 0.02 ETH they didn't have. And so generally free degrades and devalues a collection. And I'm really not into it personally.
It's a fair point, OG. Yeah.
Yeah. Very
OG, what we need to do is we got to get you into this Discord. And when we have our next beta test, we got to come and have you draw a rect guy on this canvas.
You don't want that. You don't want OG.
I AI draw it. I'm an AI expert, but my drawing is worse than Bird Dogger's.
Mine's bad. I'll come in there and draw some.
You can draw anything. I mean, we had some weird stuff on the last one, so it's all fair game on the canvas.
It got covered up eventually. I think somebody covered it up. The weird stuff.
Well, we super appreciate it, Burn.
No,
Bernie, anything else you got, bro?
Yeah. So I think I recapped everything. So I'm not going to recap it again, but I am going to give you a rating as of today.
Sure.
Simplify, take the time, spread the word, be patient, cut the supply. I'm gonna give you a 6.9 because I think it's cool. I think it's unique. I like the idea of the I like the idea of the canvas. I think that's cool. I mean, if you've got some cool shit on one of those or a huge artist swings by, that's super cool. I'm more interested in that than I am in the PFPs. I've got 1 million PFPs. I don't need more. Maybe it's cool, but I like the idea of the auctions daily.
Well, why don't you guys? The way that could happen is just not to be. So how did we get ACK on today? It's because I have built a relationship. So and bought a piece. So the question for you guys is why would anyone? Unless they're passionate about the project, why would anyone who gets paid to be an artist come for free, transfer their art to you so that you can get paid? It's one thing if I give somebody my art free, but if then they go sell it, there's just some different vibe on that. So anyway, just a thought I would think about because I don't, unless you guys personally know a bunch of artists.
I
So
do.
we're working on
I
it.
do know a handful of artists, and I don't want to give away our launch plan, but I
Okay.
think it'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be a fun launch, and we're excited for it.
Okay, well, dope. Let's see how the numbers line up, and we can update our listeners. And best of luck, and we're here.
Yeah,
Appreciate
stay in
it.
touch for sure.
All right, appreciate everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Appreciate
y'all
it.
for having us.
Yeah,
And
It was a
everyone,
lot of
like,
fun.
follow.
I really liked
Sweet.
this video format too. Like,
Good.
as compared to
Nice.
just being on Twitter Spaces, like sometimes I feel like not being able to see each other like takes away from the experience.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I actually am one step further. I think I tell Burn Dog all the time, unless you've gone to in-person, in real life events, you don't really, we're all sitting behind a computer and typing in a thing most of the time. This is a huge step forward. I prioritize over everything now. Like, I'm trying every week to meet in person with people in the space, and it's a life changer.
Love it, love it. We met at NFT NYC too, like me and John. Yeah.
It's dope.
NFT NYC is dope.
Yeah, get a hold of OG at these events. He'll introduce you to all the.
We gotta meet up. I don't know,
That's
like maybe. I mean, NFT NYC's done, so the next one is what, in Miami
Lisbon.
again? Maybe.
Lisbon and Miami. I'm gonna try.
I
to
was
do
there
this.
last year too. Yeah, like Art
Me too.
Basel.
I got someone at the door. You guys can keep
Okay, all
talking.
right, we gotta wrap it up, Burn. We're like 15 minutes past time anyway. All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Love and great. We look forward to being in touch. Good luck with everything.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for coming.
It's a rug roast. Please get smoked. You cope with the real, or you end up toast. Rug roast.